When it comes to persuading someone to take action, I've realized that we need a new category of animation, one that stands separate from what we traditionally call explainer animations. In this video, I'll explain why and what this new category of animation looks like. The problem with traditional explainer animations is in fact encapsulated in the name explainer animation. The explainer animation, at least the ones meant to convert interest into action, usually explains the brand's core offering, more specifically the value of that offering. It also gives the audience an insight into who you are, what differentiates you, and why you are worth talking to. So far, so good. However, understanding does not automatically translate into action. When you need to explain to someone how to do something, or how a process or system function, you basically need to make sure they understand the information, how it fits together and behaves over time. That's the role of an explainer animation. But you need more than understanding when you want someone to act on your call to action. You need conviction. We know from research that the mind simply cannot make a decision without feelings or emotions being involved. Research by neuroscientist Antonio Damasio has shown that people with damage to the part of their brain where emotions are generated simply cannot make decisions. There has to be some sense of conviction, trust, confidence, excitement, fear, anger, hope, or any other emotion that will trigger that decision. That is because feelings and emotions are used by the mind to prioritize one option over the other. Without emotions, all the options that are present are of equal value. In fact, they are experienced by the mind as having no value, and the mind cannot decide between things of zero value. The more intense that feeling or emotion associated with the information bit is, the more likely it is to be selected. Suppose someone is watching an explainer animation and already has a deep-seated need or desire for the product on offer. Well, in that case, the explanation is likely to be enough to make them take action. The priority boosting effect of the already active emotion adds a certain probability of tipping the balance in favor of the call to action. However, only about 3% of your target audience, those actively looking for your solution, will have those emotions already in place. What's the alternative? Well, this is where the new category of animation comes into play, what I call a persuader animation. A persuader animation is structured and driven by the art and science of persuasion. The focus is not just on facilitating understanding, but on persuasive sense-making. Sense-making, in this context, is the process of binding the understanding you create to the person's core needs and then boosting the emotions that drive those needs. The core philosophy is that your offer only makes sense to someone when it triggers an emotional reaction connected to one or more of their core needs. They have to feel the value to them. It must make sense to take action. The value is measured as a meaningful improvement in their well-being status. It is only at the point where it makes sense to take action that it becomes persuasive. Let's have a quick look at the basic mind mechanics involved. Our needs are always bound to one or more negative emotion. Why? Well, needs are what we have to do to maintain or improve our well-being. The negative emotion is there to prioritize the fulfillment of that particular need. A need is only a high priority because of the intensity of the emotion involved. So, a need bound to an active fear has a higher priority than one bound to mild concern. When we encounter something that promises to fulfill that need, the mind binds a positive emotion to it to prioritize pursuing that solution. The more intense the need's negative emotion, and the more imminent and likely the solution, is to fulfill that need, the more intense the positive emotion that gets loaded. If the priority is high enough, we also become consciously aware of it. The sense-making process takes your message and binds it to somebody's core needs. It then amplifies the negative emotions associated with that need, while at the same time binding and triggering a series of positive emotions to the solution you offer. The result is the person does not only understand the value of your proposition, they understand it in the context of their active core needs, while also experiencing the emotional triggers that prioritize it. And here, the power of animation really comes into play. Animation allows you to use high-impact visual communication techniques to augment and amplify the rational argument. And this means, if done correctly, you end up with a heightened emotional experience and therefore an increase of persuasiveness. Sense-making is the critical element that turns an explainer animation into a persuader animation. Sure, if you want to explain to someone how to install composite decking or what powers of attorney is, then you use an explainer animation. If, however, you want to convert a lead into a sale, you need a persuader animation. Now, integrating the understanding you create into somebody's core needs is what the art and science of persuasion is all about. It requires 3 additional narratives to the rational one to be truly effective. A well thought through emotional narrative, a visual narrative that augments the rational narrative and boosts the emotional narrative, and a primer narrative that prepares the groundwork for the rational and emotional narratives. In the next video, I'll discuss the 4 narratives in more detail. I hope you found this interesting and useful. Please visit us at waxter.com if you want to know more about the art of animation or the science of persuasion. Thank you.